hand in C3 and C4. I want you to just turn back to those pages and just know that that is what we are going to be handing in. And I have some scissors up here and a little later in class. Before you leave, C3 and C4. So it's like page 3 and 4. They were assigned Monday and Tuesday of this week. So you've had plenty of time to get those done. And that would be the first thing you would do after I go through questions up here. So if you don't have C3 and C4 done, answers are in the back, right, for you to check. So you should have those checked, and you should have that done before you do working on what's going to be assigned for Monday. On 6A, if we are looking at question number 9, number 9 is probably one of the tougher ones that you are looking at. And you have this A over A to the 5th, B to the 3rd divided by B, all raised to the negative 2 power. Someone want to give me how they possibly started number 9, because there's 3 or 4 ways to start number 9, and all of them could probably be right. But we have to make a decision to go forward on it. Yep.
Made the exponent go first and do a positive by keeping the 1.
All right. So you did A to the 5, B over A, B to the, is that a 3? Is that what it was? So made it a positive exponent, okay? Does everyone agree that you could do that, right? That's one of the ways you could have started that. If we started that way, the next thing I would probably suggest is if you have the same variable in numerator and denominator, simplify it down to one thing. So you have one A to a power and one B to a power. So if we're looking at this one, I have this A to the 5th, right? And since it is division, what should I be doing with my exponents? Not dividing them. I'm not actually dividing the 5 and the 1. I am subtracting them. So I'm going to put 5 minus 1 here. And then I'm going to have B, and this is a 1 for an exponent. And I'm going to have B to the 1 minus 3, correct? All of that squared. So if I'm writing that down, I'm going to have A to what power, Jeffrey? 5 minus 1 is going to give us A to the 4th. Deshaun, if I'm going to have B to the 1 minus 3, it's going to give me B to the negative 2. And I'm keeping this to the 2nd power. So, a couple of options now what to do. Isaiah, what do you want to do next? Do you want to make the exponent positive, or do you want to take power to a power? Elijah, sorry. Isaac, Elijah, I know. Go. What do you want to do? The question was, besides me messing up your guys' names, the question was, what do you want to do next? Do you want to make this a positive exponent, or do you want to take powers to powers? Okay. What do you want to do? Multiply that? Okay. So I'm going to have what? A to the A to the A. Careful.
Negative 4.
Negative 4, because we're multiplying, right? All that's over what? Are we still okay? Did we do that right? Right? We got rid of those. We're not done though, right, Isaac?
Nope.
What are you going to do?
13, negative 4 under 8 over B negative 4.
But not negative 4 anymore, right? When we moved it down, we take the reciprocal, and now it's positive, okay? So many steps to that. There's other ways you could have done that problem. You did not have to start it right away with the positive exponent. You could have left it negative. You could have simplified inside. So there's many ways of doing that. You need to make sure you're showing your work. If you didn't have number 9 done, hopefully you do now. As I'm looking at question number 14 and 15. You're explaining up here in 10 to 13 what you did wrong, but in number 15 it says determine if each problem is done correctly. So when we look at the problem for number 15, number 14 says I have k to the 8th over k to the 12th. They said k to the 4th. What operation am I doing, Grace, when I divide with our exponents? What am I doing with the exponent? subtracting them. So I'm gonna actually take 8 minus 12 and get what? K to the negative 4. So what was their mistake? If we are looking at that, what would you say they did wrong here? Yeah, it's moving around the room, I know. What would you say they did wrong? They said the answer was K to the 4th. And I will have people tell me that this answer, K to the negative 4, is the same as K to the 4th on the quiz. So what did they do wrong? Kaylee can help her. Is K to the negative 4th the same as K to the 4th? No. No. When we have a negative exponent, that tells us to do the what? Ellen can help me. Okay, so what does that negative exponent tell us to do? Take the, yeah, flip it, call the reciprocal. So this is, so the question is, determine if the simplified answer is correct. Is it correct? No, K to the 4th was not the right answer. It should be 1 over K to the 4th. On the quiz, I will have people leave K to the 4th as an answer for me. Even though they just wrote K to the negative 4th, then they'll just say, oh, that's equal to K to the 4th. It's 1 over that. I've had some people today in their work get this answer, and then all the next thing they'll do is they'll write, yep, that's K to the 4th. No, it is not. You cannot just do that, all right? So as you're looking at the problem. All right, so let's take a look at number 16. In number 16, what do we have to do if we are looking at that? We're going to start over on the other side there. So, Zach, if I'm looking at number 15, I know I'm going to keep the 2. What am I doing with the t exponents? If it's division.
Subtracting.
Subtracting. So I'm going to take t to the negative 2 minus what?
5 for t to the 5th.
Minus just the 5. Which is going to give me what, Tim?
It would give you t to the negative 4th over 5.
Okay, so if I have negative 2 minus 5.
Oh, that'd be 3.
And, okay, get a calculator. Okay.
Here now.
So, some of you, your integer operations, you're getting mixed up with those. So use your calculator when we're looking at this. If we look at this one, Jericho, what do we have? 2t negative 7. So is this answer right? Is this one correct? Yeah, it was right. They did it correctly, right? When we are looking at that one. Question 6. I think instead of looking at question 6, I would like you to turn to 6b, and if you still have questions on that, I will answer it. But on the top of 6b, I need you to put these rules. A to the m times a to the n equals. Put that on the top of 6b worksheet. Okay? Next, on the top of the 6b worksheet, put, if you divide, and I have a to the m over a to the n, that's going to equal a to the m minus n. You're going to notice this one I have a, and we could think of that as a to the first, and then b to the m power, and all of that's raised to the n. And when we look at that, what we are doing is we're taking 1 times n, so it gives me a to the n, and then b, and we're multiplying these powers together. Here I have a to the negative n, and that is equal to a to the n, and the key thing we want to keep in mind is that we are looking at the reciprocal. Okay? We're always looking at the reciprocal when I have negative exponents. And if that negative exponent would have been in the denominator, and it would have been 1 over a to the negative n, we would write it as a to the n, and we move it to the numerator. So there's a couple other ones that we have up there on the front board. We also have anything to the 0 power equals 1. All of these properties I put up on the daily planner. And if you look at the daily planner, I have 2 Quizlets. So when we look at here, there's a Quizlet practice one, and then there's a Quizlet vocab. So, exponent rules, Quizlet vocab. If you click on the flashcards, my hint would be, oh, I'm going to practice the rules, right? So b to the m times b to the n, when we multiply the same base, we add the exponents. On the other side, it said, when you multiply exponents of the same base, so we should know that we're going to add the exponents, right? When you divide exponents with the same base, we're subtracting them. So I put a bunch up here. Oh, power to a power, multiply. And they give you some really good ones to practice. And some of you are really struggling with all of these exponent rules and keeping them straight. So positive, what's positive? If you have a base with a negative exponent, you make the reciprocal. Does the exponent become positive? So take a look at some of the questions that I put up there. Anything to the 0 is 1. So this Quizlet, I would say, is a really good one. There's another Quizlet that I attached that's more practice questions. So you're getting ready for the quiz. And I know some of you will like to play all the different games, but before you go through and do the game, my suggestion is take a look at what the problems are. We're not going to have it say it for each of those, but I want you to take a look at that. So 6B must be done in its entirety in order for you to take the quiz on Tuesday. I would prefer it done Monday, but if you're not done with it Monday and haven't corrected it, you will not be taking the quiz on Tuesday unless 6B is done, okay? So on Monday in class, we're going to be working with the Quizlet some. I might have some other practice. We might do a Quizlet live kind of thing with those 2 Quizlets after we practice them. I want you to take a look right now at question 6B, and I want you to look at number 1. A bunch of people went, oh, I can just put questions 1 and 2 in my calculator, and I don't want you to do that. And on the quiz next week, Tuesday, I want to understand that you know these rules. I don't want that you punch the numbers in your calculator. So on 6B, what would you tell me is my rule, Addie, as I'm looking at division in number 1? If I'm dividing, I'm going to do what with my exponents? Subtract it. So I'm going to have 4 to the what? Which Morgan is going to give me? Just 2?
Oh.
No. It's going to give me 4 and what? 4 to the second. Now, on the quiz Monday or Tuesday, if you leave the answer as 4 to the second, I probably won't mark it wrong, but these are the squares you had memorized, right? So you should really be able to tell me 16. I want you to do the next 2 right now. Do them right now, and then we're going to take a look at them.
It's 8, then negative 2 over 8.
And was it 7? Did I have the numbers right? Yeah, 7 minus 9. So 8 to the negative 2. And then my final answer is going to be what?
8, negative 2 over 8, and then over 1.
Tell me how I'm going to write it over 1?
The 1 over 8.
8 to the
Second.
yes. Would I take in your notes the answer in the back says 1 over 64? That'd probably be a good answer, but I could leave it like that also. Okay? Please go down to number 6 right now. Number 6. Cassidy, start me off. Negative 3, what are we doing with our exponents when we divide?
I don't know.
You don't know. Look at the rule. What does it say? The base is the same. What do we do with our exponents? We subtract them. So, negative 3. Here's the thing on the quiz next week, Tuesday. I need that negative 3 to stay in the parentheses. So we're going to put negative 3, and you said you're going to subtract, right? So tell me what I'm subtracting.
7, 3.
7 minus 3, right? That leaves me with what, Janessa? Number 6. In the parentheses, what? What's in the parentheses? What was in the parentheses in the whole problem?
Oh, negative.
negative 3. That has to stay the same. You're not going to change that ever. That's our base, okay? What was our exponent when we did the subtraction that Cassidy started us out with? What is our subtraction? What did you get? 4. I'm okay if you leave this. Now, negative 3 to the 4th is probably one you could figure out, right? Because negative 3 times negative 3 is? Positive 9, and 9 times 9 is?
81.
And that is what this answer is in the back. But on the quiz, if you get stuck, stop and leave it like that. I'm perfect with that. If you have any number to a large power, anything bigger than a 3, leave that as an exponent. Leave it as a power, okay? So when you're working on this homework, this side, it's not all that bad as you are working on. Turn to the back. They get a little ugly. But you guys can do this. So your assignment today, I'm going to be walking around in class. You're going to be working on this. So, please look at number 24 right now. Yeah, you're going to do 21. No problem. Okay? Power to a power. Again, if it helps you to put these same rules that we have up here on the top of 6b on the back side, put that up there. You should have those written down so that you know those. So when I take a look at power to a power, what am I doing with each of those when it's power to a power? When it's a power to a power, you are not minusing or subtracting, which is the same thing. You are multiplying those ones. Okay?
2 times x minus negative 2 times x negative.
Let's look at 24. This problem has given many people problems. So first off, if you see a negative 12 divided by 4, what does that equal? Number 24. Negative 12 divided by 4. It equals negative 3. I've had people doing all kinds of weird stuff with this. This is simply a division problem, right? So put on your paper negative 3. What's x to the negative 5 over x to the negative 5? X to the 0, and x to the 0 is? 1. So do we have to put the x's there?
No.
So this is negative 3 to the negative 4. Please do that right now on your paper. People are making it way harder than they had to. Use your rules. We're going to rewrite this as 1 over what?
Sure, the right here.
1 over, what do you got? 1 over negative 3. You got to keep the negative 3 in the parentheses to the what power? Not negative 4 anymore. It's negative here, you move it down, it becomes positive. Again, in the back, you're going to see this answer is 1 over 81. I'm okay if you stop at this point and leave it, okay? I am more concerned that you understand the rules of exponents than you have the larger numbers that you put in your calculator, okay? So you want to finish this whole page through number 32 if you're going to take the quiz. If you finish your